All-Star Saturdays have taken a lot of hits the last few years, but this one had a hit of nostalgia. Damian Lillard is back.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night, tipping off now.
You are locked on NBA Game Night, locked on to All-Star Weekend, NBA Game Night, every game, every night. Tonight, every contest on All-Star Saturday night. I'm Gavin Schall. I am the host of the Locked On Knicks podcast. He is Khahil. He's the host of Locked On Pistons Dream Team, leading the Eastern Conference, I might add, at the All-Star break. Back together. Koo, I don't know, man. What has your opinion been over the years on All-Star Saturday nights? This is something I've loved growing up. I still look forward to every year. I think I walk away a little disappointed the last couple of years, but I still had a good time watching tonight.
Yeah, I same as you. I grew up absolutely loving All-Star Weekend. I remember where I was when Dwight Howard dunked with the Superman suit on. I remember Nate Robinson going over and dunking over. Like, I remember exactly where I was as a kid. It was like the biggest All-Star Weekend every year. I remember when Kobe broke his nose. I remember all this stuff. It was a big moment every year for All-Star Weekend growing up, and it just hasn't been that way for a while now. And we're gonna talk about it, but I'm sad to say I walk away feeling the same way.
Yeah, all the players wearing their own jerseys during the All-Star game. I always loved fourth quarters of All-Star games. The year Kobe passed away, obviously, was the last time we got like a really incredible one. But I think it is the single best way to tell like who matters in the league, what the pecking order is, who are actually the five best guys in each conference based on like who coaches close games with. That is always so much fun. But we're going to get into a whole bunch of stuff tonight, including Damian Lillard winning the three-point contest, a dunk contest that had its moments relative to some recent years, but certainly fell short. And then we're going to get into some buy or sell, including if we expect a big upset in either the East or Western Conference. But before we talk about all that, I want to remind you that today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. All right, only one place we can start. Damian Lillard, who has not played basketball in about 9 months, still recovering from a torn Achilles. Unless I missed something, I don't believe there's any expectation, unlike Jason Tatum, that he is going to be back, that he is going to play this year. Cool to see him in a Blazers jersey again. Even cooler to see, and I think the Peacock crew did a really good job just emphasizing how incredible this is, for a guy who just like hasn't played competitive basketball for a year. Like, yes, you can maybe give him a little more time to practice for this 3-point contest, but to still like have the rhythm, the confidence in his shot, to put up a 29 in round one, and then in round two, hold on after Devin Booker chokes a little bit down the stretch. Final three of Booker, Lillard, and Knueppel, and Booker has three chances to tie it, would have taken 2 to win. Couldn't do it. Dame Lillard, ice in his veins, walks out as a 3-point champion. Just great to see him back out on an NBA court.
But I remember last week, me and my friends were all chilling in an Xbox party, and they're all saying they're like, because they're into betting, so they're looking at the FanDuel. I was like, "Is that Damian Lillard? Is this like a mess up? Why is Dame in the 3-point contest?" I'm like, "Is he actually in it?" So I went and looked. I'm like, "There's no way Dame's about to play in this 3-point contest. He's recovering from this Achilles injury still." And the fact that not only did he participate, but he gets the win with some crazy performance. He hit 9 of his last 10 in the first round. And I imagine being like some of the players who are actually still playing right now. You go out there and you're losing to a dude that's been sitting out for 9 months. Like, imagine being one of them dudes. But Dame, this is his third time winning it, right? He won in 23, 24, took a year off, and then won again.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we know he's a legendary shooter, but the fact that I was watching to see how he was moving around like the basket to bat or the ball to ball on the perimeter. See, like, is he actually able to run? Like, how is he moving? Like, he looked fine. So, I mean, the fact that he was able to walk out there and just be the best shooter still without even playing, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's such an interesting competition to me because I would love to interview some of these guys and ask them like, how it translates from in-game shooting, because you every single year, and they talk a lot about repeatability of form and guys who have like 2 motion shots or 3 motion shots. It gets a lot more difficult, and you just see the ease of which like Dame gets these shots up, and his wrist strength. Like, it's the same thing every year. Steph graces us with his presence and decides to participate, like, where there's just something different. And you understand how those guys are able to launch from 40 feet in a way that no one else in NBA history has. And Damian Lillard is I think, clearly, like, I think would be, he is a legend in his own right, but even more of a legend in his own right if Steph Curry did not exist, because I think people underrate just how freakish his shooting ability is throughout his career. Like, just an easy shot. Devin Booker, beautiful shot, like, not having a good 3-point shooting season. And honestly, like, for the bulk of his career, and it's probably just because he does so much else. Like, I was in Phoenix, I was covering the team when he first got drafted, and his reputation coming out of Kentucky was pure shooter. And he, like, weirdly, in some ways, like, he's been very good throughout his career, but relative to like what you clearly see his talent is as a 3-point shooter, the percentage has always been a little bit low. And again, some of that is difficulty of shots. A lot of that is playing on bad teams over the years, not getting easy threes. But in these kind of competitions where you just isolated as a skill, like, you see just how ridiculous he is. I mean, that second round where he made the second 4-pointer to stay alive was red hot. Heartbreaking finish. Shout out to Knueppel, 27 in the first round. Pressure got to him a little bit. Struggled in the second after starting 4 for 5. No one else really standout performances. Donovan Mitchell was solid. He's a guy who's been in this a ton and has historically struggled. He had 24 in the first round, got beat out by Dame. Norm Powell, 23. Maxey, 17. Bobby Portis, the 6th best shooter in the NBA, 6. Jamal Murray, someone I thought was going to really cook, only had 18. This was his first time doing it. He looked a little uncomfortable. I was kind of, I almost wish the NBA like leaned a little less into star power in this coup. At times, it almost feels like they want to save money on beds and shipping guys in for hotels. Like, someone like Sam Merrill, I think, should have been this competition. AJ Green is taking 7 threes per game. Interestingly enough, only one of the top 11 in 3-point percentage was in this. And granted, some of those guys are very low volume and don't belong, but Jalen Tyson, Sam Merrill, AJ Green, like, there are definitely some names missing that I think could have been competitive in this.
Yeah, I mean, staying with that topic, that's actually what I wanted to talk about was, if you look at the names in the 3-point contest, we're about to talk about the dunk contest coming up. I think the 3-point contest is by far at this point, unless Mac McClung, which we'll save that for my take there in a minute. But unless Mac is playing in the dunk contest, I think the 3-point competition is by far the best event now on Saturday nights. And unlike the dunk contest, you actually get the stars to show up and play in this one. Like, you actually get the best players in the league. And I agree with you. Like, I remember growing up seeing Jason Capono play in these 3-point, like, guys like that play, Steve Novak playing the 3-point contest. So if you can get some of those 3-point marksmen that maybe aren't stars, that's great too. But I just think it's interesting how you get the stars to come out and perform and show up and put on, most of the time, a really good show in the 3-point contest. And it always has all of us drawn in. Like, the 3-point contest, I think it's the best contest they got now on Saturday night. So the fact that they lead off with it, I think that should be the main event from now on. And I just think it's interesting that the Stars actually do that one, but then they refuse to, do the dunk contest. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a great point. There is like a little bit of an old Western element to the 3-point contest. Like, you think you have the fastest gun, watch this. And it is cool. Like, Dame talked about after just the competitive aspect and said, like, he really missed competing. I saw like another, this is a weird tangent in the national NBA pod, but like Sean White is covering the Olympics for the Flying Tomatoes, covering the Olympics for NBC. And he got to like, I don't know anything about snowboarding, so excuse if I'm misusing the terminology, but he got to run the half pipe, I want to say. Again, he was like tearing up after. He was like, man, it's so cool to get to do that again. And obviously Dame is not retired. I hope we get some epic moments from him. Obviously that Portland team has a lot of young talent, a lot of potential. To be interesting to see how Dame fits in with Scoot Henderson, if they keep Drew Holiday past this season. But we're definitely going to get some moments from Dame before he calls it a career. But it is just like, it reminded me of the Olympics in a weird way, like in the twilight of some of these guys' career, for them to like still have signature moments. Like maybe we were talking about all-star nostalgia, like that still hits for me. That I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. Dame, however many years you got, him having one of these moments and being able to do it in a Trailblazers jersey too, I think was really cool as well.
All right. That was awesome. But when we come back, we are going to get into a whole lot more, including the dunk contest. That coming up next right here on Locked On NBA Game Night. But first, we want to tell you about our good friends over at FanDuel. The Winter Olympics are officially here. And if you're anything like us, you're locking in for events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. And that's why following the Winter Games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports you care about most, FanDuel gives you the most ways to stay connected to the action. The drama of curling matches that start slow and somehow get intense fast. Speed skating races decided by mere inches. Hockey games that feel different right from the opening faceoff. Even niche events become must-watch when you're fully locked into the competition. FanDuel keeps the entire Olympic experience engaging from start to finish. The Winter Games are on. There's no better way to play them or follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. We also want to tell you about our good friends over at Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business moving forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed Sponsored Jobs is the move, because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with qualified candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria, like skills, certifications, and location. If I were hiring, I wouldn't just want someone who can quote unquote help. I'd want someone with real experience who can jump right in and actually make a difference. That's what I like about Indeed. You can get specific and target exactly what you need. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching, more time interviewing candidates who check all the boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. It's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. I want to remind you, if you want to get ad-free access to your favorite Locked On show with the Everyday Club, plus members-only Discord access, all you have to do is join at lockedonpodcast.com/everydayclub. But we want to continue with our coverage of All-Star Saturday. I think it's fair to say the dunk contest is a disappointment if it's not leading off. I'm with you. I've always enjoyed the three-point contest. The dunk contest, there's a reason. It always caps Saturday night. It is supposed to be the highlight. I thought there were some flash moments. I enjoyed Carter Bryant's work on his second and third dunks. This feels cliche to say because I feel like I've said the same thing on this podcast for the last decade now, but it definitely does not have the aura of dunk contest pass.
Can I go on a rant real quick?
Yeah, please, Cook.
All right, I got a rant for everybody. You guys want to know what the real dunk contest was tonight? The real dunk contest was the 4 dunks that got released after on Twitter that Mac McClung did. And I'm going to go on this rant because people didn't want, apparently, according to reports, NBA players didn't want Mac in the dunk contest and said they would not participate if Mac was in it. So we missed out on the best dunker, the one who was literally carrying the dunk contest the last 3 years. Every year he was in it. Now listen, this is coming from someone who's watched Mac since I was in high school almost. Like he's been on the House of Highlights. I've watched his high school highlights since I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. So I followed his whole dunking career. So when he joined the dunk contest and was dominant, I'm like, bro, that's what I've seen. I expected this. And all of his dunks, if like every single one of his dunks was something that you've never seen before. So the fact that the NBA players said, if he's in it, we don't want to compete. Okay, fine. He doesn't get to compete, I guess, because you guys are scared of him. He's walking around like Debo now. Fair enough. He gets ousted. No one competes still? Like, what was the point? No one even competed. Who are, like, all respect to every single one of these players. But who are these people? Like Patrick Starr meme here. Who are you people? You make it to where Matt can't play the best. He would have put on the best show easily. Bro, go look up the 4 dunks that he uploaded after. All of them were better than any dunk we saw tonight. 3 of them were dunks I've never seen before. You make it to where he can't participate so other players can. They don't participate, and the result we get is Jace Richardson trying to do a dunk off the backboard that almost nearly ended his career. he tried to do some reverse, one hand, hit the side of the backboard, landed on his head. Like, come on, bro. What are we doing? It's even more, it's extra worse. It has extra spice to being bad because it's the 10-year anniversary of the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine one. And I get it. I might be old man yelling at the clouds now. I'm 28 years old. Maybe I'm just the old man now. Okay, maybe that's what it is. But 10 years ago, when I was graduating high school and that dunk contest happened, it was the greatest thing I've seen. It was part of the. It was why the dunk contest was the main event. Growing up, that kind of dunk contest right there, even the last 3 dunk contests, even though everyone else that went against Mac McClung was trash, he was at least putting on a show that I was walking away like, man, I've never seen that dunk before. I've never seen this one before. And instead, you don't let him dunk because everyone else was scared of him. Then you keep him out. The players still don't show up, and we get a player nearly end his career because he shouldn't be in there anyways. Like, I don't know what. It's over. I'm done. I'm done with the dunk contest. And last thing, I'm sorry, I'm going for a minute. Last thing I'll say, what makes this all even worse? What makes this all even worse than the NBA players? Have you guys seen the unrivaled 1v1s happening?
I've been loving those. Yeah.
So wait. Let me get this straight. The unrivaled, the women's basketball players can put their pride to the side. Actually, not to the side. Put it on the table. Put it on the court versus everyone else's pride. And risk losing. Paige Beckers loses, immediately runs off the court because how mad she is. Love the competitiveness. We got that going on. Kelsey Plum cooking up with some crazy handles. They're going out against each other, 1v1, getting embarrassed, maybe winning. Who knows? Who knows? Putting it all on the line. They're able to do that, and in the same day, we get players that shouldn't be in the dunk contest because the NBA, the men's players are too, I don't know, what do you want to call it? They're too scared to go in the dunk contest. And don't get me started in the All-Star game coming tomorrow. We got to do these 5 different formats just to get them to try a little bit. Hey, I had to go on a rant. I had to. This dunk contest used to mean a lot to me. It was the favorite part of my childhood growing up. And now it's just, it is what it is.
Hey man, I threw it to you. I said to Cook, you turned it into a 200-person Benihana's. That was great. That's fire. I agree with everything you said. I've been advocating for a one-on-one contest. I feel like since I was 11 years old, that would be extraordinary. Like, I don't even care if we get the best. Give me like Spencer Dinwiddie has said for years he would do it. Give me Spencer Dinwiddie in there. The dunk contest was not great. We had to your point, Jackson Hayes was the closer. He was the quote unquote big name in this. Jackson Hayes, like, if he wasn't playing with Luka, who just like needs a lob guy, like I don't like. There's some teams, but he should not be a rotation big on like a top 4 seed in the West. And he was the headliner. And his first dunk, where he took off, it was meant to be like between the legs from the foul line. He takes off inside the foul line, doesn't go between the legs. Should have just dropped the ball and instead just dunks it. Was one of the worst dunks I've ever seen in a dunk contest. And they give him a 44.6. Like there is dunk inflation because it is so lame. They're like, well, I think one of the announcers said, well, you can't get less than a 40. Like, what do you mean? I played NBA Live as a kid.
I was about to say yes.
I was getting 30s.
You were getting 20s.
And you want to talk about pride being crushed? My pride, I was embarrassed. I didn't go to school the next week. That was terrible. But I suffered through it. Jackson Hayes, that should have been 30. They gave they gave Jace Richardson less on his second dunk. Like they give Jackson a 44. That was crazy. Jackson Hayes was terrible. Jace Richardson, the first ever Nepo dunker we've ever gotten. We've had Nepo babies and everything. We had Noah Eagle on the call. He was a talented announcer. But anyways, Jace, the first one was trying to echo his dad, but it wasn't as good, which I think is a great microcosm for the dunk contest. That we had the son of a legendary dunker doing a worse version. I don't want to crap on Jace Richardson because I think he's an awesome player and he's going to have a long NBA career.
Well, let's just hope he's okay. That's what we need. We need to hope he's okay.
Yeah, he seemed to. And the second dunk, he was true. His credit was ambitious and it would have been sick. Wasn't able to complete it. It actually reminded me of something Levine, or maybe it was Gordon, who did like a similar dunk off the side of the backboard in that contest. Carter Bryant, I thought, showed some great bounce, which is all you could add. Like the high bounce lob windmill where he got over the rim and threw it in. That was pretty sick. Like it was a little Levine, just in like the pogo stick nature of how high he got in the air. His third dunk was the only 50 of the night. The between the legs, off the high lob, brought some magic. That was great. Bummer of an ending where he misses his last few dunks, and basically Khahil Johnson, who it tells you the dunk contest was bad. That we're now 8 minutes into this segment, and for the first time we're saying the name of the winner. He sort of wins by default. Only thing I have to say about Khahil Johnson, he seems like a fun guy. He was emoting after like basically every time he dunked, came out dancing with E40, like swaggy performance from him. If not a super memorable one, wins on a one-handed windmill from about 9 feet out. That was all well and good. Do you have any, I assume not, do you have any thoughts on the shooting star portion of the night?
No,
I took a lot of notes on the shooting star portion of the night, and then I sat there and stared at my wall and I reflected of how I got here in life. Shout out to my Knicks though. We won the cup.
Yeah, they won.
We won the shooting stars coup. I mean, NBA championship would be nice, but we've already kind of done it, right?
You got the in-season cup, you got the Shooting Stars champ. Hey, you just need the All-Star MVP tomorrow.
Dude, Allen Houston still had. I thought it was unfair that like all the other team, like Dylan Harper is a 20. We'll talk about this later. Is a 25% 3-point shooter. He was leading his team. Knueppel was dead apparently after the 3-point contest. He couldn't make like a 10-footer for whatever reason. The Chet Holmgren Scotty Barnes team was weird in that like Scotty Barnes I guess is shooting better this year, but that's not really a shooting team. Corey Maggette, shout out to him. He was the highlight of that. He made multiple 7-pointers.
I was gonna ask you, does Corey Maggette look like he can still play in the NBA, bro? That dude is built. Like he looks in shape.
They said something like, yeah, he's like 42. I can't believe he can still dunk. I'm like, LeBron's 41. He's still dunking. Yeah. Why can't Corey Maggette? It really does highlight how much of a freak LeBron. But the Knicks with Brunson, Cat, and Allen Houston, they actually had 3 legit shooters. Cat, who shot terribly this year, was effortless on those 7-pointers. He hits 2. Allen Houston hits 2. Brunson is clearly the worst shooter on the team, but he hits 1. My favorite part of all that was at the very beginning when they asked Jalen Brunson what he thought about like participating with his dad, Rick. And he said, I'm not having fun. And then at the end, they asked him, are you having fun now after winning? He said, nah, whenever I'm with him, Rick Brunson, it's never fun. I'm glad he wasn't talking about Cat. That would have bummed me out. They were getting hyped after. So that was good. It was a good night from that perspective. But when we come back, one more All-Star talk, but it is in the context of buy or sell. Plus we're getting into some potential playoff upsets. We're going to talk about that next right here on Locked On NBA Game Night. First, we got to tell you about our good friends over at Game Time. There's nothing like being in the arena, in an NBA arena. That is the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets though, that part hasn't always been so simple. If you're not Guy Fieri, you don't just get to walk into the All-Star game. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. Is putting the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. I pulled up the Game Time app. I picked an upcoming NBA game, and I had tickets locked in within minutes. I loved seeing the all-in price up front. No surprise fees at checkout. Almost nothing in life that's not really of consequence bothers me. Like ticket jumps at the tail end of buying. You could be like going to like a Knicks game with 3 or 4 friends and saying, hey, it's Fred's 30th birthday. We're going to get amazing tickets. And you get to the end and the price will jump like $400. That doesn't happen with Game Time. You know what you're buying, and being able to see the view from your seat makes it so much easier. The zone deals stand out. You choose the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save money. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Down the Game Time app, you can account, use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. All right, let's wrap this up. Little buy or sell. Final thing on the All-Star game. I can guess your answer based on the rant you had, but do you buy or sell that the All-Star game will be more competitive tomorrow? We've had some comments from Victor Wembanyama saying like, hey, like I'm going to turn up, like, and he said, I agree with this. Like one guy has to commit to playing hard and then everyone else looks stupid. And then everyone else kind of has to play hard. And he's trying to take no LeBron, no Steph in this one. He's trying. He's trying to take a leadership mantle. KD doesn't really buy that it's going to happen. Anthony Edwards doesn't really buy that it's going to happen. What say you, Khahil?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. 2 things I have to say about this. One, Kate Cunningham said it perfectly in his interview today. Just go back to East versus West, man. What are we doing? Just go back to East versus West, man. Mm-hmm. Give us the East jerseys. Give us the West jerseys. I just go back to East versus West. It doesn't matter what format you do. Guys aren't going to try. It is what it is. At least let's get the East versus West stuff. That's one. Number 2, I don't know about anyone else who's played basketball their whole lives and grown up playing. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to make a hot take right here. I might be wrong. I'll have a hot take here. Victor saying that he's going to be the only one trying hard out there, and that's going to force everyone else to try. I'm telling you right now, in all the pickup games I've played throughout my entire life, all the way leading up to literally as recently as last week, if you are playing in a pickup game and the competition is either 1 week or 2 just not really trying, you yourself end up just not really trying because it just feels like it just feels like, what am I even doing here? It's like everyone just absorbs that energy. And it's like, if you try hard, now you look like a try hard. And it's just like, what are you even doing here? So it's like, if everyone's energy is someone that just lacks lackadaisical and they don't really care, I'm promise you one person all of a sudden going out there trying to drop 20, all that's going to happen, they're going to look at you like, why are you a try hard? Like, well, what's going on? They're just going to keep doing what they're doing. So I don't buy it. I think it's done for. Let's go back to East versus West, please.
You look like a hardo. Like
Yes.
you're the jerk. You're like, what are you doing? That's not the vibe. That's not the energy. I agree with you. This is probably stupid, but I've advocated before. Like go to the old MLB system, East versus West. Winner gets home court in the final. Though I guess you'd have to have some incentive for the guys who are on terrible teams. So maybe that doesn't even work. I don't know. Anywho, let's get to some real basketball. Do you buy or sell that one of the East's current top 4 seeds, that is Detroit, New York, Boston, Cleveland, will lose in the first round?
I will. I want to say so. There's not many teams at the bottom of the East that I think could take them out. But I'm going to say so. That's my answer. I'm going to say so. But there is one team at the bottom of the East that I am sneakily keeping my eye on. Does not like scared or worried or actually think they're going to do
with the Bartlett Lornets.
No, that's not them, but they are playing very well. They are playing. I respect Charlotte. I just don't know if it's going to hold. We'll see how the rest of the season goes with them. I don't know if it's going to hold up enough to where they're going to actually make someone out, take someone out in the playoffs first round. The Philadelphia 76ers, I would just keep an eye on them. Embiid over the last 20 games, averaging 30. Like, I just keep an eye on them, just glance over every now and then. But outside of that, like, I can't imagine the Raptors taking out the Cavs. I can't imagine the Magic taking out the Knicks, Celtics, or Pistons, like the Heat, Hawks, if they even want to get in there. Like, it just, I can't imagine any of the bottom 4 seeds are capable of taking out any of the top 4 right now.
Yeah, I will buy this. I'm not confident in it because to your point, like I think Cleveland would have been, I don't even know if they would have been top 4 seed without making the Garland trade, but they would have been my pick to lose. I think weirdly, even though this is maybe counterintuitive given James Harden's playoff resume, like I think he makes them a little sturdier, a little bit of a higher floor, like forget about a higher ceiling, like a little stronger defensively relative to Garland. So they're a little less upset prone than I thought. I think whoever plays Toronto, sorry Raptors fans, gets essentially a first round bye. This could be played on a loop if they play my Knicks and kill them in the first round, but I don't really take them seriously as a playoff team. Awesome regular season team. Orlando is actually the team that I'm watching, and I have respect for Philly. To your point, like it's high variance with their offense, and Quentin Grimes like gives them a defensive element. Tyrese Maxey, I think, is just a terrifying player to play in the first round, just because there's not really an answer for someone that fast who can shoot the way he does. Like you just kind of have to hope he misses at a certain point. But Orlando, like if we get Orlando Boston, I actually think that could be a good, like Orlando, even though it was only 5 games, it was a physical series. They exhausted Boston last year. They switched everything, and this year potentially going to be healthier, potentially more scoring options with a better version of Franz Wagner, with Desmond Bane in. If Jalen Suggs is healthy, he's one of the better two-way players in the league. I know they've been deeply disappointing. A lot of that has been injury based. I know Paolo like has not really been the guy you want necessarily, but I just see the defensive identity there and like the offensive talent for them to pull up an upset between them and Philly. I just think it's plausible enough that I'm going to say buy on this. Same question out west, and I think out west is a little more interesting to me, only because in the East, the 4 teams I listed I think are very likely to end up being the top 4 in the East, barring like a terrible injury. In the West, you have Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Denver, I think are pretty locked in. That 4 spot, Houston, LA, Minnesota, all within a half game of each other. It's very up in the air who the 4th seed is. And depending on who that is, I think you could argue that the 4th seed might be an underdog in that first round series. So I'm asking you to project a lot here, but do you buy that a top 4 seed in the West will lose in the first round?
Yeah, I'm absolutely buying this one simply because, like you said, any one of these teams, even Denver, I know Denver, I think is the 3rd best team in the West, but could they end up the 4th seed? Like, could that, like, I don't know if they'll end up actually as the 3rd seed in the West. We'll have to see. But like, even if you just ignore the top 3, like Houston, Lakers, Timberwolves, one of those or 2 of these 3 teams will end up playing each other. I could see any one of these teams winning in a playoff series, depending on the matchup. Like, for example, like if the Suns were to get up to 6, and let's say the Nuggets fell to 3, or if Nuggets fell to 4 and the Rockets got up to 3, or like Lakers got up to 3, I could see the Suns taking out the Rockets or the Lakers. Like I think the West is a lot deeper of like really good teams, especially once you get like 7 deep. Like I've honestly really respect the Suns and what they've done this year. So like the top 7 teams in the West, I really respect. After that, the Warriors, I love Steph, but I think it's cooked for them, sadly. And then everything else, I mean, the Clippers, I thought maybe they could make a little bit of noise in the first round. They kept everybody because how great Kawhi's been, but that's not the case anymore. So, yeah, I'll buy it. simply because that middle of the pack in the West could be any team, and I think any one of those teams could beat each other.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I feel a lot more sure about the top three. Like I would have Denver as my second best team. I don't know who ends up getting the 2 seed there, but I would be very surprised if Oklahoma City or Denver lost in the first round. I think shocked actually would be the term I would use. San Antonio, if they fall to 3, to your point, like could they be upset? I don't think it's likely, but if Minnesota was there, like that would be kind of a coin flip series to me. It's so contingent on where the Timberwolves end up, because I am probably picking them in the first round against any of those teams. Houston, last 15 games roughly since they lost Steven Adams, just 25th ranked offense, went from like a top 2 defense to they've been the 8th best defense since that mark. Their half court offense, Jackson Gatlin over at Locked on Rockets done a great job highlighting this, has been terrible. Like they were just hyper reliant on offensive rebounds. They lost the greatest offensive rebounder of all time. They're deeply missing a point guard, and they didn't trade for one because in their GM's own words, he said, maybe it's just not our year. When your GM at the trade deadline press conferences, maybe it's not our year, that does not inspire confidence in me, in you being a lock to win a first round series. So I buy it for both conferences. But let's finish up with this. Do you buy or sell, just because all 3 of those guys have been really involved in this weekend so far, that the San Antonio Spurs, who shouldn't really be regretting anything right now because they are playing incredible basketball and they got arguably the greatest prospect in the history of the sport in Victor Wembanyama looking like it, do you buy or sell that they'll regret taking Dylan Harper over VJ Edgecombe and Knueppel, let's just say 5 to 10 years down the road?
I'm going to sell this one. I think Dylan Harper is the right pick. I think he's going to be insane. I think he's going to be very, very, very good. He just doesn't have to be right now. I think that's actually good for him. He doesn't have to be so relied upon as a rookie. He doesn't have to have everything on his plate. He's able to learn, compete. He's playing legit minutes on a legit team. He's not soaking up minutes. I'm not saying that the other 2 guys aren't, but a lot of times guys that get drafted at the top of the draft, they're playing heavy minutes for teams that just aren't playing for anything. So you're building bad habits, all that kind of stuff. He's playing for one of the top teams in the NBA, playing consistent minutes for them, learning behind guys. I think I've been very high on Dylan Harper. I thought if it wasn't for Wemby, he would have been a first overall pick in a lot of drafts as of late. So I think Dylan Harper is going to be absolutely fantastic. He won't be higher than Khan or VJ maybe in rookie of the year race, but I don't think that matters. He doesn't have to be this year. I think in 3 to 4 years, you'll see, maybe even next year, to be honest, but I think years down the line, you'll see that Dylan Harper is the number 2 next to Victor Wembanyama. And he won't be playing behind De'Aaron Fox or, Wally. I think he'll end up being the best guard on that roster.
Okay, I'm buying this one, and I will say that probably comes from a place of me not being a draft guy and like maybe not knowing as much as I should about Dylan Harper coming out of Rutgers, coming out of high school in New Jersey. He was a Don Bosco guy. He's been sick so far, just incredibly hard to stop going to the rim, like just ridiculously, like just like the depth of moves he has around the rim. The ability to like maximize his 2 steps. Like he's just done stuff.
His craftiness as a driver is crazy.
I mean, people have compared him to like 6'5" Jalen Brunson. Like I think there's some of that there. Like I've just never seen some of the stuff that he does. And like if his future is anything like that, then my answer is just stupid. The shooting is concerning to me, just 26.5% from 3. We've seen a bunch of guys shoot terribly their first 40 games as a rookie and then turn it around. It shouldn't be like the end of the world for him, but that is a little bit of a concern, just given that they have Castle. Fox is maybe not as long-term of a piece, but for now, he's an essential piece on a great team. Like, I don't know how soon they're going to move off of De'Aaron Fox. And just given that the window potentially is right now, I look at VJ as a very similar player, but like is just a slightly cleaner fit as an off-ball guy, as someone who's shooting 35% from 3, like Harper, has just had a great start defensively. Maybe like Spurs fans can tell me this is terribly wrong, but from what I've seen, like VJ maybe even a slightly better defensive start than Harper, even though Harper's awesome every time I watch him. VJ's been sneakily poor at the rim, 27th percentile at the rim. I still want to see more from VJ Edgecombe, but just like his comfort late in games, we saw it obviously in the Rising Stars game. We have seen it throughout his early tenure on the Sixers. Like he is just a killer. And Khan is like, maybe you could argue doesn't have the ceiling of the other 2 guys, but at 20 years old, for him to already be one of the best shooters in the NBA and someone who honestly had like a dark horse all-star case this year. Like this isn't among rookies. This is around everyone in the NBA. 96th percentile on points per shot attempt. That's basically like a catch-all, like efficiency metric. 83rd percentile usage, 78th percentile assist percentage, super confident attacking closeouts. The concern for him was on defense, and he's been more than solid. Charlotte as a team has played fantastic defense. Now they have their whole group together. Like he just seems like a plug-and-play guy and a contender. And you put him next to like around all the athleticism San Antonio has and Wemby, like I think that would have just been unfair. So I like those two guys a little more, but to your point, like Harper's ceiling might still be the highest of the group. So I think you'd go either way.
Yeah, I think I'm not really considering VJ. I think Khan is the argument here. I think Khan's been absolutely fantastic this year, and I think he's going to continue to be fantastic. I think Dylan is going to be a primary, though. I think all of these guys, he's going to be a primary facilitator, a primary initiator. And again, I think him and Victor are going to be an incredible duo. He's going to be able to learn and take time behind De'Aaron Fox. I think he'll be fine. I think Dylan Harper is just. I think just give him a few years until the Spurs no longer have a bunch of other guards in front of him, and he's being like they don't need him to do much right now. Like if he's not, they don't need him to play 30 minutes. I think in 2 years from now, I think he'll be very, very good. I compare. He got a lot of comparisons coming out to like Cade Cunningham, so I think maybe that's why I'm so high on him. But yeah, I think Dylan, he's not going to have a better rookie season than him, but I think he's going to end up being the best player.
I like the take. Tomorrow night, we'll have you covered again on Locked On NBA Game Night. Danny Cunningham and Swiper will sum up the All-Star break. I think people sometimes think journalists like take enjoyment at clouding the All-Star game. We want it to be good. We really, really want it to be good. I hope it's competitive. I hope Wemby is right. We will see. But until then, he's Khahil. Check him out over on Locked On Pistons. Everywhere podcasts can be found. I'm Gavin Schall. You can find me over at Locked On Knicks, and Locked On NBA Game Night can be found on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, anywhere you get podcasts. You can get every game, every night, right here on Locked On NBA.